Chapter 629. Time is short. A bunch of useless pricks. The teacup smashed into pieces on the floor as the loud roar sounded from inside a tea house. As soon as the roar rose, someone poked his head out from the tea house and observed their surroundings, to see if someone else was hiding close to the tea house. However, the street outside of the tea house was full of people being evacuated. The inner city was simply the same size as any other city zone. If the people from all the other zones were making their way into it, it would most likely fill all the streets and buildings. As such, one simply saw countless heads moving, as huge crowds were pushing their way toward the inner walls in fear. "Senior, please calm down. A blue deacon is on it now. I'm sure that everything will go well according to plan," the owner of the tea house said with a soothing smile. "Humph, to send out a blue deacon just to deal with such a minor character, what's the point of feeding those useless pricks? Once the festival comes to an end, I'll cripple that dumb-ass black clergy myself," swore the man inside the tea house. "It's true that he has made a mistake, but you do know that the information about the villages is confined." Somehow, Fang Gu's sudden appearance happened to synchronize with our pace. Since our superiors didn't really blame us, we should try our best to fix the mistake. "Don't you agree, Deacon Hu Jin?" prodded the owner of the tea house. "You better make sure that everything is well. Let me know at once if there's any situation, including every single detail." Deacon Hu Jin rose to his feet and headed for the exit. "Don't worry, I've never let Senior Salin down before, and I won't disappoint you, either. My brother is going to bring back the final supply of the water of Kun." The owner of the tea house was still smiling like a businessman. When Deacon Hu Jin was about to step out of the door, he slowly added, "There's something else, Great Deacon." "Say it quick," said Hu Jin. "According to my people, that kid Mo Fan with the underground holy spring is here too," said the owner of the tea house. "Humph, he's just a kid. We'll take care of him once the festival ends." Deacon Hu Jin paused for a moment before waving his hand indifferently. "He cost us many people in the Magic City. I'm making it clear, wait until the end of the festival. Just focus on dealing with that Fang Gu." Affirmative. A few undead were roaming aimlessly at the foreign park. When there was no sign of prey nearby, they would move at an extremely slow pace, dragging their incomplete bodies around like machines. When the undead headed to other places to hunt for food, a young man in a black shirt suddenly appeared on the main path of the garden. He was wearing a dark expression, with blue veins surfacing on his forehead. Normally, these undead would immediately lunge at their target as soon as they detected the presence of something alive, to fill stomachs that could never be satiated. However, these little undead did not dare to make any bold move after sensing the icy aura from their target. Mo Fan walked straight toward the park. He was greeted by a water fountain, in which he discovered a corpse savaged beyond recognition soaking in the water. After the water fountain was a bunch of small mounds and a small wood. The trees were basically wilted, apart from shrubs that stayed green in all seasons, the same spot where eyes were flickering among the leaves. It was hard to notice them without looking carefully. Lu Ru followed behind Mo Fan, her perception and sense of smell more sensitive than magicians. Even though the cursed beasts were good at concealing their presence, the truth was, Lu Ru could easily capture their pungent smell from a few hundred meters away. 4 on the left, 3 on the right, and a bunch of them ahead, but their auras aren't as strong as those 7 closer to us. Zhang Xiaohou, Su Xiaoluo, and the others are right there at the monument, Lu Ru whispered into Mo Fan's ears. Mo Fan nodded as he continued to walk on the main path indifferently. The few villagers close to the fake mountain soon saw Mo Fan, their faces filled with astonishment. "Why is it you?" asked one of the villagers called Li Kai. "Why can't it be me? You guys are surely taking your time, staying in the cold rain like this." "I'm here looking for Zhang Xiaohou." Mo Fan's grim face wore a smile as he greeted the villagers indifferently. He's not here, you should leave at once." "You have no business here," blurted out Li Kai. "You're lying, isn't he right there?" Mo Fan stepped forward and immediately looked at the monument in the shape of stairs. Su Xiaoluo, Zhang Xiaohou, Xie Sang, Hong Jun, and 5 other villagers were sitting under the monument. They seemed like they were taking a rest. They too had seen Mo Fan, their faces full of astonishment. Seriously, the army of undead is reaching here soon, yet you still have the mood to enjoy a picnic here in the park. Come, time to hit the road. Mo Fan continued to walk forward. Lu Ru was following Mo Fan closely. The 2 sides of the path were covered in tall shrubs. She quickly said, 70, no, 80, more than that. And there are around 8, no, 7, no, it's 8. Is it 7 or 8? Asked Mo Fan cautiously, the same smile on his face. 8, one is concealing his presence well, and he's stronger than the other 7, said Lu Ru confidently. Mo Fan continued to walk forward. He could sense movement coming from the shrubs on both sides. The cursed beasts. In the past, Mo Fan had mostly fought against dark beasts, which were slightly stronger than one-eyed magic wolves or zombies. They were just a bit more cunning, but these cursed beasts were a lot scarier. They were cunning creatures at the warrior level. From Lu Ru's observation, there were around 80 of the dark beast monsters, clearly a huge number. On top of that, there were 7 cursed beasts, not a small number, either. What shocked Mo Fan the most was the presence that even Lu Ru failed to detect in the first place. Lu Ru could easily sense the presence of all intermediate magicians, including shadow magicians. Their ability to conceal their presence was basically useless against her, but the fact that something had managed to hide his presence from Lu Ru meant he must be an advanced magician. With the 3 of us, we should be able to handle an advanced magician. The problem is there are still the dark beast monsters and cursed beasts to deal with, said Lu Ru grimly. Don't worry, I have the Swift Star Wolf and Little Flame Bell, it's the 5 of us, said Mo Fan. Just be careful, we can't drag the battle on for too long. Otherwise, the army of undead is going to crush us all, said Lu Ru. Which means they will also want it to end quickly, said Mo Fan. The army of undead was only 3 kilometers away. Not only was time running out, the breeze and ghastly howls coming on it were telling them that death was right behind them. Chapter 630 The Sacrificial Pig or Lamb. Who is this guy? A sharp voice asked from behind the monument. Damn it, why is he here? He's Mo Fan, that idiot's friend. I suggest we take him down first. If Fang Jiyu realizes that we're setting up an ambush here for him, we'll have trouble tracking him down again, replied another voice. Just kill him. I don't have time to waste on a little shrimp who lost his way, said the sharp voice coldly. What about the girl beside him? I'll leave her to you, but focus on the matter on hand first. Thanks, the man was restless from the excitement. Su Xiaoluo and Zhang Xiaohou both saw Mo Fan and Lu Ru walking toward them. It went without saying that they knew the 2 were walking right into a trap. They tried their very best to warn them, yet they could not utter a single word, as their minds were sealed off. Finally, as the 2 reached the monument, Chief Xie Sang received them with a smile. Lu Ru felt disgusted when she saw Xie Sang's expression. She had no idea where the guy got his courage from to still smile at her like that. She was suspicious that he was an underling of the Black Vatican. So it's you, that scared us. Fang Jiyu has been trying to hunt us down, said Xie Sang. Chief, you're not a good man, Mo Fan smiled. Not a good man? What do you mean? The chief was startled. You've been hiding something from us all along. If it weren't for my brother, I wouldn't even bother saving your village, yet not only weren't you grateful, you even colluded with those assholes. Mo Fan's smile gradually turned into a cold grin. Xie Sang's face was blank. Before he spoke after a slight hesitation, I had no other choice. Do it, a sharp voice commanded from the dense shrubs. The atmosphere turned murderous, as an icy breeze swept past. A pungent smell assailed their nostrils, like the breeze coming out of a cave that was stacked with rotten meat, feces, and corpses. It was utterly disgusting. A pack of dark beast monsters crawled out from both sides. There were between 70 to 80 of them. They had odd shapes, with only skin and bones. Their tongues were eerily red and long, while their eyes were filled with greed and hatred, like devils from hell. These dark beast monsters were most likely related to the undead by blood, judging from their ghastly appearance. How disgusting! Lu Ru twisted her lips, her face utterly disgusted. Many kinds of demon creatures were already ugly and savage, yet they were relatively adorable compared to these dark beast monsters, especially in a situation where they were crawling out in such huge numbers. If she were still the little girl of the past, she would have instantly fainted upon seeing this. They used to be humans, but now they were only a bunch of fallen spirits willing to be ordered around like dogs, doing evil things together with their asshole masters, explained Mo Fan to Lu Ru calmly. We should just cleanse something like these together with their souls, said Lu Ru. Kakeke, very precise. It seems like you're quite familiar with our Black Vatican. Now, if you know how we do things, you should stop resisting so we can tie you up, just so you won't scare our fish away. If everything goes successfully, maybe I will spare your lives, the sharp voice spoke once again. Behind the monument, a woman in a dark red mink coat walked out. The coat was so long that it had almost reached the ground. Despite the cold weather, the mink coat was fairly exposed, revealing long legs covered in red stockings. The heels she was wearing were so sharp that they could almost poke a hole in the tiles of the monument. The woman was wearing a veil to cover her face. However, Mo Fan learned something when he saw the woman in the veil. Not every woman wearing a veil was a goddess. Compared to the mixed-blooded angel Yi Mengye whom he shared a journey together with for a few days, this woman in the dark red mink coat was actually made of a pile of ostrich poop. Hey, uncle from the countryside, can you stop playing a transgender role? Luckily you have the veil on your face, or else I think I would be vomiting now. I think you should stop being the Black Vatican's underling. You can start streaming and earn a living by fooling some idiots online, said Mo Fan. As soon as his words were spoken, it felt like the air had frozen. Frost began to cover the thick layer of foundation on the woman's face, which could easily poke Mo Fan to death when it was scraped off. The woman in the mink coat had 7 black clergy standing close to her. They were all wearing black outfits, each wearing a curse mark that looked like it was crawling with cockroaches and centipedes. The marks were fairly deep. It was obvious that these cursed beasts were stronger than the ones Mo Fan had stumbled into in the past. As the woman unleashed her murderous aura, the 7 cursed beasts subconsciously moved further away from her. It was clear that they were utterly terrified of the woman. Kid, you're going to use the rest of your life to regret what you've just said. The icy voice of the woman in the mink coat spat. Even the raindrops were turning into ice. The truth is always unbearable. You just need some time to get used to it. I bet your men have already gotten used to your appearance after vomiting a few times, said Mo Fan. Take him down. I want him alive, and try not to make a mess here, demanded the woman murderously. Mo Fan said to Lu Ru in a similarly disdainful tone when he saw the female deacon giving the order, kill them all, help their souls to find peace. We should accumulate some merit for our next life, so we won't have a ghastly appearance like hers. The woman's heels stumbled slightly. She almost could not resist the urge to tear Mo Fan to pieces with her own hands. This reckless idiot. She was promoted to Blue Deacon just recently because of how vicious and cruel she was. She stared at Mo Fan coldly, yet she did not attack. The 7 black clergy and the huge number of dark beasts were more than enough to take care of the kid. Mo Fan did not move either. His eyes stared right into the woman's eyes. The slight grin on his face was clearly showing his disgust and hatred toward the ugly woman, who looked like a skinny old man playing a transgender role. Chief Xie Sang was in a total panic. He spoke to Mo Fan in a trembling voice. How reckless are you? She's a Blue Deacon of the Black Vatican. You have no business here. Why did you have to barge in? You're going to place my villagers in danger. Yeah, you should just listen to her. We are all dragged into the mess now. She's trying to catch Fang Jiyu, and Fang Jiyu is trying to kill us. She's helping us, blurted out Li Kai. Don't make it worse for us, just leave. Mo Fan was not angry when he heard the scoldings from the villagers. They were nothing but a bunch of idiots. Based on the Black Vatican's usual behavior, once they captured Fang Jiyu, the villagers who were lucky would be killed on the spot, while the unlucky ones would be turned into more of the dark beasts that were crawling on the ground. However, Mo Fan was indeed quite surprised. This ugly, old woman turned out to be a blue deacon, a subordinate under Salin's command. Mo Fan was tired of killing only the useless people of the Black Vatican. The Black Vatican had treated Bo City like a city of white mice, so Mo Fan did not see them as humans, either. Right on time, the deceased of the calamity of Bo City needed a sacrifice. A blue deacon was worthy enough to be slain as a sacrificial pig or lamb. Chapter 631 Little Flame Bell, Friendly Fire Mode On. The first dark beast that was eager to make a big impression sprang forward. Its long claws emitted an icy flicker in the cold rain, while hooks sharp enough to sever a human's arteries were hidden under the sharp claws. Mo Fan remained stationary, while Lu Ru suddenly appeared in front of him. Lu Ru had also clenched her hands into claws and waved them in the air. 5 deep, glowing slashes the color of blood swept forward, tearing the impatient dark beast into a few segments. The dark beast was still in the air when its body split into several pieces, falling before Lu Ru's feet. Its filthy blood and organs splattered across the ground. "Go, all of you!" yelled one of the black clergy. The commands from black clergy were infused with a curse. The dark beasts who were unwilling to obey them would suffer an enormous pain inflicted on their soul. Black shadows moved rapidly in the surrounding area. The dark beasts who preferred to attack their targets sneakily would make use of the opportunities given to them through the sacrifices of their comrades. Their speed was like leopards to humans. Both their movements and attacks were too fast for humans to react, but Lu Ru's agility significantly surpassed that of these dark beasts. To her, these dark beasts were like mechanical puppets. Not only was their speed when jumping, crawling, pouncing, and scratching extremely slow and stiff, but their approaches when attacking were also too predictable, with similar patterns. Each time they were going to attack, they would first jump from one spot to another, before pouncing on their target. Lu Ru easily predicted their movements as they were crawling and leaping. She simply killed each of the creatures instantly before they could inflict a single scratch. The dark beasts were completely useless despite their numbers. Lu Ru had easily killed a dozen of them with ease. Suddenly, a quick shadow swept by and appeared when Lu Ru was distracted by 4 dark beasts flanking her from different directions. The shadow was followed by a curse mark, which emitted an evil glow as the figure swept past like a flash of lightning. The mark further increased the creature's speed. Lu Ru was unable to dodge in time. Her pale neck was sliced open with a deep cut. Some girl among the villagers immediately screamed. The woman in the mink coat said to someone beside her with a hollow laugh, "It seems like you can only enjoy her without her body temperature." However, the words were still lingering when she shockingly discovered that the girl whose throat was sliced open suddenly exerted great might, grabbing the ankle of the cursed beast that ambushed her. Lu Ru totally ignored the wound on her throat. She grabbed the cursed beast in midair and slammed it down on the cement road. The road was cratered. Half of the cursed beast's skull was broken, and brains flowed out. The cursed beast was as tough as a cockroach. It was still alive even after its skull was blown open. However, Lu Ru did not give the cunning creature any chance to escape. A crescent saber made of blood appeared in her hand, and she swung it at the cursed beast's neck. The blood saber immediately beheaded the cursed beast, and Lu Ru kicked the head away like a soccer ball, hitting another cursed beast that was planning to attack her. Following her actions, the cut on Lu Ru's throat had already healed magically. Not a single drop of blood was seen, and on top of that, the skin was as white and tender as it was before. The other few black clergy were dumbfounded. They had never seen a woman whose throat was sliced open fight like her. Besides, the woman was not even using magic. Her blood claws, strength, crescent saber, and wind lashes were some impossible power that did not belong to a human. Blood tribe. The deacon was fairly knowledgeable. She immediately deduced Lu Ru's identity, and her eyes widened as she snapped, "Don't just stand there. attack and kill them at once. The dark beasts were simply a bunch of flies and mosquitoes harassing a fierce tiger. There was no way they could harm her, so it was only a matter of time until Lu Ru wiped them all out. The cursed beasts were the real threats. If Lu Ru was a tiger, those cursed beasts would be fierce wolves. Lu Ru was already aware of the cursed beast that had tried to ambush her. She had purposely exposed an opening so that she could eliminate one of the cursed beasts. "Why do I feel like you've grown stronger again?" Mo Fan was astounded when he saw Lu Ru killing a warrior-level cursed beast instantly. Your blood is rather special. It can help me evolve every once in a while. In order to guarantee the purity of my blood and strength, I decide to only drink your blood," replied Lu Ru. "The right milk formula, the kind that you can drink without worrying," blurted out Mo Fan. Lu Ru did not have a chance to respond to Mo Fan's remark, as the other 6 cursed beasts attacked her simultaneously. They were indeed cunning, as they intentionally hid their cursed marks so they would look the same as ordinary dark beasts. They would only trigger the power of the curses when they were attacking. "Little Flame Bell, come out and help your Aunt Lu," said Mo Fan, casting the contract summoning. As he thought, he was only halfway through drawing the star pattern when Little Flame Bell came out from the contracted space on her own. Mo Fan had already anticipated it, thus he simply interrupted the channeling when the 5th star orbit was completed. Otherwise, the others would think that he was an unqualified summoner. Little Flame Bell hopped out of the contracted space with high anticipation, just so she could see the speechless expression on Mo Fan's face. Unfortunately, Mo Fan was too smart to be tricked. She immediately puffed her cheeks, her eyes saying, "I am very not happy." However, Little Flame Bell was a very obedient kid, after all. She was only angry for a brief while, as she knew that the bad guys had made her father not happy too. Like, extremely not happy. "Don't show any mercy," Mo Fan said to the Little Flame Bell. Little Flame Bell was basically an evil demoness. As soon as she heard the restriction was lifted, the calamity fire in the form of fiery storms immediately swept through the surroundings, devouring the restless dark beasts within 10 meters. Lu Ru was killing the creatures one after another elegantly, allowing her to perfectly preserve her strength. Meanwhile, Little Flame Bell was being completely unreasonable. She simply had the urge to fully unleash all the flames inside her body, producing a destructive festival of fire similar to the fire calamity. Luckily, Lu Ru had already experienced this before. She immediately leapt into the air when she saw Little Flame Bell preparing her attack, just so she was high enough to avoid the flames. The Little Flame Bell had never turned off her friendly fire mode. Chapter 632 Leave None Alive. The flames were Little Flame Bell Empress people. Any fiery spirits would obey her unconditionally. The fire magic of magicians followed the rules of star patterns. The flames produced would usually be restricted to fixed forms, yet the flames that Little Flame Bell used were totally under her control. If she wanted the flames to spin like a tornado, the fire would simply transform into a tornado with her at the center. If she wanted the flames to turn into Godzilla, she had seen in the anime, the fire would take the shape of a fiery monster dashing forward. If she wanted the flames to split into countless fireballs following the dark beasts like tails, they would listen to her, forcing the dark beasts to flee in all directions from the fires. Among the 80 dark beasts, Lu Ru had already killed over a dozen of them. The remaining 50 were nowhere enough to entertain Little Flame Bell. In just a few moments, half of the dark beasts were dead, while the other half had suffered severe burns a few hundred meters away from her. If they were not being controlled by the black clergies, they would have fled for their lives. Little Flame Bell instantly brought chaos to the place. Such a big mess was the last thing that the female deacon wanted to happen. If Fang Jiyu happened to turn up at this moment, their entire plan would go down in ruins. Her face was utterly dark. It was obvious that this magician's strength was far stronger than she had imagined. The female deacon glanced at the army of undead approaching the place. The Black Ocean was still around 2 kilometers away, yet it felt like it was already within a few feet, devouring everything it came across. "A bunch of useless pricks," cursed the female deacon. The energy ripple of advanced magic was too strong, and would attract the attention of the Imperial magicians who were looking for Fang Jiyu, too. It was also the main reason why she was hesitant to attack. However, she knew she had no choice but to interfere, considering how the situation was turning out. Not only would they miss the chance of capturing Fang Jiyu, they would all be devoured by the ocean of undead. Not a tiny bit of their bones would be left. The female deacon raised her head. Her eyes, caked with thick makeup, emitted an icy blue flicker. The star orbits were drawn quickly, forming a star pattern under the female deacon's heels in an instant. In the following second, another icy white star pattern appeared, which blossomed like a giant snowflake glowing brightly above her head. More star patterns continued to appear in different places, before they were connected into an icy star constellation. An advanced ice spell. The female deacon was an advanced magician, as they thought. In the past, Mo Fan would simply run away without hesitation upon stumbling into a magician of this level. He had zero chance facing an advanced magician. He could not even survive a single advanced spell. This time, when his enemy attacked, he made his move too. He could not help but admit that the female deacon was drawing star patterns faster than he could. Unfortunately, she had to draw 7 star patterns to complete the star constellation, while Mo Fan only needed to complete an intermediate spell. Little Flame Bell, possess. As soon as Mo Fan finished drawing the star pattern, raging flames surged upward from his feet. His hair and shirt were lifted in the rising hot air. Icebound Coffin. The female deacon coldly uttered the name of the advanced ice spell, turning the raindrops into ice falling densely from the sky. Meteorite Fist. 9 dragons. Mo Fan was even quicker. The flames he was engulfed in were so strong that the cursed beasts did not even dare to get close to him. The female deacon giggled when she saw Mo Fan's star pattern. Did he really think casting an intermediate spell at a faster speed was enough to stop her icebound coffin? Was he assuming that the 7 black clergy standing beside her were plain decoration? Did he really think they did not have any defensive spells? However, as Mo Fan's fiery aura continued to rise to an extent that even her frosty aura was close to being overwhelmed, she began to panic. The channeling of the icebound coffin was interrupted. The female deacon glanced at the 2 black clergy standing in front of her, who were casting light protection and rock barrier to protect her, yet she could already sense the destructive aura surging in her direction. The 2 intermediate spells were nowhere enough to defend her from the attack. The fiery dragons uttered a huge roar. Even the park was quaking slightly at the blast. The fiery dragons danced wildly, flying past the dark beasts that were running in all directions. The creatures evaporated instantly, even though the fiery dragons did not make any contact with them. The dark beasts close to the dragons were burned into ashes. The energy of the wild flames struck the 2 black clergy blocking in front of the female deacon. Similarly, the 2 black clergy were burned into ashes despite the defensive intermediate spells shielding them. The light protection and rock barrier did not stand any chance against the fiery dragons. The fiery dragons lunged forward and reached the deacon. The deacon reacted fairly quickly. She summoned a zero ice shield. Meanwhile, Mo Fan's meteorite fist swept across the sky, burning all the plants along its path, before its strength finally reduced after it collided with the female deacon's zero ice shield. The imperious flames split to the sides as they struck the zero ice shield. The deacon was knocked sliding together with her shield, before slamming into the side of the monument behind her. The carven base instantly shattered and collapsed to the ground. The path that the woman was knocked flying had a long, deep ravine, with scorched ground along both sides. Inside the burning undergrowth, the deacon's zero ice shield was destroyed, its pieces scattered across her surroundings. She rose to her feet, trembling. Both her hair and mink coat were burned beyond recognition. Meanwhile, her mouth was full of blood, rising from her chest and leaking out from her lips. Between her and Mo Fan stood scorched land and little sprouts of flames that had left the place in a mess. On top of that, her face was covered in soot and filled with astonishment. An intermediate spell? Was that really an intermediate spell? Even though she was an advanced magician that had only ranked up quite recently, she was still able to control the power of the advanced level and stomp any intermediate magicians at will, but somehow, she was now suppressed by an intermediate magician. If she had not summoned the Zero Ice Shield in time, she would have ended up just like the two black clergy who were defending her. Fiery Fist. Was that really the intermediate fire spell, Fiery Fist? Even advanced spells are not much stronger than that. You just had to choose to be an asshole when you could just live as a human. You dogs who obey Salin's orders, I'll kill every single one of you. Mo Fan's bloodshot eyes burned with rage as the fury in his chest exploded. A punch alone was nowhere enough for Mo Fan to vent his anger after learning the truth behind the calamity of Bo City, nor was it enough for him to get over the sorrow he felt when Shu Jiaoting begged him to end his life. Today, Mo Fan would not let any member of the Black Vatican leave alive, including the Blue Deacon.